Peace and welcome to Atlantis Build Talk Radio, the premier station for 5% Nation of Gods and Earth social commentary, interviews, musicology, and uncensored discussions about the science of everything in life. This station is a subsidiary of Asia and the Atlantis School for Gifted Youngsters at www.atlantischool.blogspot.com and Asia TV at YouTube/Quanaya. QUANAAH.
All right, family, we are here in living color again. We're going to go to part 2 of this communication. Ras Jomo, myself, welcoming you all to the African dance party, and it's very appropriate, I guess, that we now go into another level of communication with Brother Saladin. He recently made a trek, part 2 trek. Well, he'll let us know what number it was, but a very interesting travel, and we want to open up some thoughts and some ideas as we talk about this responsibility, our city, our county, our state, our country, our world, this idea about getting out and traveling and how important it is. We talked in the first set about the work you're doing. We talked about your education. We talked about your school setting, what you're doing now in the last year, moving forward with your own educational projects. You're also growing and learning and sharing as well and traveling. Can you open up the door now to where you've been and what you've been doing?
Yeah, so aside from traveling domestically for a lot of the different things that I do related to my education and the Underground Railroad Heritage Center, I made my first journey back to Africa January of this year. And I was there for about 8 days. And coming back here to America, the only thought in my mind was, how can I bring others here to experience this? So I ended up going back within about 7 months from the first time that I went. Yeah,
that's a parallel story. My first trip to Africa, I went to Ethiopia. I went for Africa Unite. Bob Marley's family had Bob Marley's 60th birth anniversary in 2005. Went there, covered it for the media here in Western New York. And I came home and I showed my grandfather the pictures in Ethiopia. He was looking at the food. He looked at the streets. He looked at the beautiful people. He said, "Is this Africa?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Is that Africa?" I said, "Yes." He said, "These people in Africa?" I said, "Yes." He said, "That white man that lied to me my whole life." Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
I told him, I was like, "You know what? And I'm going back too." And he said, "You know what? I'm going to help you go." So in about 2 months, I went back to Ethiopia again. And it became very, very, very important, where my communication to self was, whatever happened to me, don't let me go back to America and fall asleep. So what happened? Where did you go? Where did you go?
Oh my goodness. I went to East Africa my first time. So I went to Tanzania.
All right.
Habaragani,
land of Julius Nyerere.
Oh my, and that is exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. A level of peace, a level of security. It was the most secure and free that I've ever felt in my entire life. And
you've traveled around America.
Yeah. And people here, when I'm traveling, they're like, "Oh, be safe, be safe." I'm like, yo, you need to be more safe where you're at right now. Because where I'm going, people, they don't carry guns. They're not raising their voice at one another and arguing and having road rage and being aggressive. That is not even a part of our people's culture there.
So you went to Tanzania. So the language there?
The primary language is Swahili.
Okay.
Yet at the same time, you have over 120 tribes that are native there, and they all have their mother tongue. But in terms of a sense of unity, people don't just speak their mother tongue in front of you so you don't know what they're talking about. People speak Swahili. And here's the thing, practicing Kwanzaa for so many years, I've already been introduced to a lot of the language, and I was able to understand certain concepts and ideas because I was already immersed in it by what was brought to us through Dr. Maulana Karenga.
So we give thanks for Dr. Karenga. We give thanks for all of those generations who have been keeping Kwanzaa going in Buffalo. Speaking of which, we're getting ready for Kwanzaa 2023. So this cultural practice, and I guess it goes back again to, people laugh and joke about people coming from Africa and how they speak English. Most people here in America, black and white, can't properly speak English, and this is the only communication mode they have.
Yeah.
Learning different languages, how important is it for our children?
In America, people speak one language.
And not proper English either.
Yes,
we speak American.
When you go other places, people minimally speak 2 languages. That's the minimum. In places like Tanzania, I was meeting brothers and sisters that spoke 4 and 5 languages.
So different thoughts of mind, different communication patterns. You talked about going there. Okay, so what was it like? So Tanzania is in the eastern parts of Africa. Speak one of the language, the East African states. Many of them have Kiswahili as the main language, a lingua of communication with many of the countries. So going back to what was told to us a long time ago, now is the time for us to really be mastering more than one language as the world is smaller. And how welcoming is it and was it for you to go to Africa? All of the stereotypes and misconceptions that are commonly generated here. What was it like touching the ground?
Oh man, I felt home. The love that I felt from our people there. A lot of times people here in America, because we're in a capitalistic society, they have a very transactional way in which they deal with people. They're only going to deal with you based upon what you can do for them, right?
If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Yeah, to meet people and they genuinely care about how you are doing, how your family is doing. Like the highest value is in the relationship, not objects.
So when people ask you how you doing, they're really expecting an answer, and they're going to wait for the answer before they go to the next part of the communication.
Exactly. The whole social norms were entirely different. The concept of time was different. Here, we're according to a clock. There, when in Lion King, when they say Hakuna Matata, don't worry, they literally live like that there. And the concept of time is totally different. And a part of that is because I was in a place amongst our people who are timeless. We were here before there was a clock constructed. So the concept of time was entirely different.
Many people are talking about Tanzania being one of the most prominent, peaceful, easy to live and transition places. I've heard people from Buffalo itself, Africans who are here, who are not even talking about returning to their own country, talking about the peacefulness in Tanzania. What did you see as far as like young people, as far as business, as far as thoughts, ideas, education? What did you see as far as that reality?
So when I went, I had an opportunity to hike Mount Kilimanjaro. I went on safaris and checked out a lot of the wildlife and the landscape. And when I was there, I met a woman who was there doing service work, and she was connected to a primary school. So I asked her, like, hey, I want to check out, one of the schools here. Could you connect me to the school? Within 12 hours of me asking her that, one of the school board members contacted me directly because his wife was once the principal of the school. It's known as Sakila Primary School. Made arrangements. The next day, I went to go visit the school. When I got to the school, the entire school came there and welcomed me. They were there, and I just came to go check out the school, but they had a celebration for me. They gave me traditional Maasai garb and made me an international ambassador of the school simply because I cared about our people and what's going on there. It was just a level of love that we see fragments of within our organizations here in this society, within our institutions. But because I think the landscape and the geography, the the environment that we're in, it's very difficult to sustain that sense of unity and that sense of love, because the environment, a lot of times, I was drinking water out of a natural stream from Mount Miro. And I was talking to our people there like, we can't drink this water over here in America. They couldn't even believe it.
We have 20% of the freshest water and fresh water in the world. And the water, you live in Niagara Falls, they say if you're pregnant, don't eat no fish. And if you fish out of that river, you're not supposed to eat, what is it, more than 1 or 2 a week, something like that.
Man.
So we have a lot of reality to reconstruct, and we have a lot of stereotypes, myths, and straight up lies going back to this propaganda thing. We have a lot of those things to overcome, and it seems as though this generation and this time, even with all of the distractions, black people from Buffalo, black people from Niagara Falls, black people from America are doing things at a record number now, and that is why we encourage our people, get your young people passports. We want you to get them as well.
Yes.
If you can't get it for yourself, at least start getting all of the children in your family a passport. Make that be a family goal. We got to get some music in here before the set. We're going to be coming back. Can you stay a little while longer? I
got some more to share.
All right, here we go.
Scholars and scientists now concede that Africa is the birthplace of mankind. Africans were the first builders of civilization. They discovered mathematics, invented writing, developed sciences, engineering, medicine, religion, fine arts, and built the Great Pyramids, an architectural achievement which still baffles modern science.
The 225th Emperor, direct descent from Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. He is the King of Kings, the Lion of Judah. The name Haile Selassie means power of the Trinity.
Educate yourselves of Africa, to liberate yourself, Africa. Keep your heads up high, no more will we cry. Yeah. Our history that they stole, Africa, is written in our souls, Africa. Oldest nation on this earth, know just what you're worth. Well, ships that sail to distant places robbed us of our rights and words. History says that you've betrayed us, talking of the gods you serve. Hear the rumbling in the sky, tears that our forefathers cried. And today we're still in chains, take the shackle from our minds. You're the cornerstone, the king upon the throne. How beautiful art thou, Africa. All nations have to bow, Africa. Don't you fall from grace, you're that sacred place.
To the people, motherland representative. I'm on trial with the man, she my co-defendant, and I demand her attention. Can you focus, woman? I'm getting closer to the sky every time I hit it. Haile Selassie, power of the Trinity. Soul made in Niger, my vice made in Italy. White man's world that I'm living in, some say, but it was Africa, the continent we all came from. Can't nothing come between me and you. So before I have seeds, gotta understand my roots, gotta understand the truth. We is all kings round here. Life's not all fair. Word till we fall dead, Lord going hard till I earn like a pallbearer. Although my body's in the U.S., my heart's there. I can never be ashamed of her. I got my features and my name from her, Mama Africa.
The richest place on earth, know just what you're worth. Stip, tip, step, tip, 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 stip, tip, step, diddle, stip, tip, step, diddle, step. Talking about the God you serve. Stip, tip, step, diddle, step, diddle, diddle, stip, tip, diddle, step, diddle, diddle. Keep your heads up high, no more will we cry. Well, they infiltrate our home, Africa, and claim it as their own Africa. But now we must stand tall to break down all these walls. Well, our children must be taught of Africa, the science and the arts of Africa. Na, 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 na. Educate yourselves, Africa, to liberate yourselves, Africa. Keep your heads up high, no more will we cry. Beautiful art Africa, a nation of the bow, Africa.
The voice of Wale and Stephen Marley, Made in Africa. You now hear the voice of Ras Jomo and also Brother Saladin. We're talking about a trip to Africa. We're talking about 2 trips to Africa. We're talking about Tanzania. We're talking about the importance of traveling. We're also talking about the love being felt in the land of Africa. Misconceptions in the West about our history, our connection, and even our importance. How important do you see Africans born in America in particular in returning and lending ourselves to Africa? How do you feel about that?
Part of it is a journey of reclaiming our culture. A lot of us, especially here in the West, have been made other than ourselves. And because of that, we have a very unhealthy view of who we actually are. I'm thankful to have the type of family that raised me with a sense of love and respect for our people. And that is the reason that the first time I had the opportunity to travel internationally, that I went back to the continent of Africa. You know, a lot of times I see people who have that opportunity to travel, and our people in particular, in the first place they want to go to is France. They want to go to England, they want to go to Ireland, Amsterdam, Sweden, Italy. And what that really communicates is their sense of identity and how they value status. They think that that's something that's important, even if you want to throw Dubai in there. Most people don't go to the continent of Africa because of what we've been taught about ourselves and our people. And the reality of it is, that is not only the birthplace of humanity in terms of us being the fathers and mothers of civilization, but it's also the richest place on this entire planet. When you look at America, the biggest export of America is American culture and ideas.
And most of those ideas come from our people, and they're packaged, exploited, and retailed by others. So it goes back into this thought about how important is it for us to think about travel, think about doing other things in other countries and expanding, what we know, what we have to offer. How do you see that as the future, as a win-win for the continent and for those of us who have been born here?
Yeah, so you look at the planet. The planet is 196,940,000 square miles. It's 57,255,000 square miles of land, 139,685,000 square miles of water. America is a little over 1% of the entire square mileage of the planet. Just a little over 1%. The average black person in America doesn't even explore America. So what that translates into is all of our hopes, our aspirations, what we think is possible only exists in less than 1% of the planet. And because of that.
So this is not the world.
Oh, it is just, and that is also the importance of exposing our children to this as early as possible, because what it does is it inoculates them or immunizes them
That's right.
against that type of propaganda, because they know for a fact that there are possibilities of a sense of family, a sense of community, a sense of an environment where people genuinely have love for you because you're just there, not because of what you can actually do for them. By them being exposed to a reality outside of this 1% of this landmass that we call America, it automatically opens up their minds to not only the possibilities, but also to connect with the global majority. We're taught here in America that we're minorities, but we are the majority on this planet. And the only way to fully communicate that is to go and to connect with our people in different places.
The older people would say, I can show you better than I can tell you.
Yeah.
And we're limited by not listening to the wisdom of our elders, because we're traveling around the corner. We're holding up the same block, and the block don't need us to hold it up. We need to be traveling the city, the state, the country, and the planet. All of those things belong to us as well. And I think that that's really one of the main things of us taking ownership. Dr. Karenga reminds us that we have that responsibility as original caretakers of the planet, which is another different way of thinking, but it's true nonetheless.
Yeah, and a lot of the ideas that we have about family, about community, about environmentalism, we have environments where we live where that is sustainable, where we're actually doing that, and sometimes it's hard to conceptualize that in an environment where the soil is polluted, the water's polluted, the air is polluted, the media is polluted.
So there are places still with what we're learning, as there's a large quest right here in Western New York, and I applaud all of those efforts, from gardening to farming to us getting back to eating healthy, us getting back to thinking healthy, our music, our cultural aspect of dance. All of these realities are coming to us anew again, and I think that we should really top it off by putting the physical culture with it, because African drum and African dance, just for doing it in the classroom, is really not enough. Those are things that belong to parts of a larger culture, but those dances and those drum songs are songs and dances about what we have been traditionally doing on our own land, in our own time, and in our own mind. So I think that the next phase is that we have to talk about what it means to see our people in custodialship of keeping the river clean, keeping the streams clean, protecting the soil, not polluting the land that we live on, not polluting the minds of the people in our community, because we all have value. Some deeper concepts that even the adults, as it say in the Bible, maybe we need to just come as a child, and all of us need to be, relearned all over again, just reset ourselves.
And like I said, when I traveled there the first time, my only thought coming back was, how can I bring others here so they could experience this?
Well, I want to talk to a few of our friends and partners. We've been talking about this passport thing for many years. The COVID pandemic has thrown off, or actually made us reanalyze many things. And I think that we're going to get deeper into that passport as well as travel project, and I think that we should be regionally working for our children. As a matter of fact, I think that's part of repair, definitely part of reparations. Remind me, I want to put that in the bill as we submit that to the governor and all of our assembly people. Part of our reparations has to be about us being able to travel and put us back in the places where we were taken from.
Yeah. Because some of the think we need to go back to Africa anyway. Well, let's go.
Well, but it should be funded because I didn't pay to get over here. So.
Exactly.
And I think that's fair. It's only fair. It's right and it's just. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to be coming back inside the African Dance Party. We're talking about Africa. We're talking also about concepts in re-educating, repairing the mind, the body, and the spirit. Stay tuned. All right, we're inside the promised land. This is Project Access to Africa with Ras Jomo. Every Sunday from 7 to 10 p.m., we are inside our African Dance Party. And what I'm really dancing and happy about is we're talking about opportunities. We are talking about the WFO, Health, Wealth, and Education Expo. It's going to be taking place at the Aqua. And we want to make sure that all of you are there. Visit our website, www.power965radio.com for more information. We want to make sure that you are there all day long. We want you to be a part of our live in-studio audience for all of our Saturday shows. We're going to be moving later on in the day with activities dealing with men's health, dealing with health, wealth, and finances. We're also going to be having a hip-hop panel discussion, and we want you all to be as we said, a part of our live radio shows. As we make history, we continue to make history. The legendary WFO since 1961, our voice and our truth. Remember, no one can beat us at being us. And if we're a legendary radio station, it's because you all are the legendary listeners. So I want you all to take time and applaud yourselves. That's right, pat yourself on your back, or if you got a friend or somebody around you, have them go ahead and pat you on the back. Just, congratulate yourself. It's good to support yourself, confident yourself. Here with Saladin Allah, we're talking now about these opportunities. We're talking about the land of Tanzania. We're talking about the continent of Africa. We're talking about passports. We're talking about getting ready to travel. And we're also talking about re-educating our young people and adults into how we look at Africa, how we look at international travel, and how we look at how much more it is to learn beyond America and American culture.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think about quite a bit is the ability to finance our freedom. And here in this country, there may not be many opportunities to do that. And a lot of that has to do with being in a capitalistic model, in a society where the value of objects are more important than the value of our relationships with one another. And not having an environment that's sustainable and is able to actually promote that type of perspective on life. And I think having those type of opportunities to go to places outside of this country gives you an opportunity to be exposed to those different perspectives that you're not really going to learn about in this educational system, through the media or any of that.
Also, being able to see people do less with more, it'll make us think about how much loose income that we're giving away to corner nationalities and people who have shops all around us, and how much we're just giving away, and that same amount of money can be used with a 5, 6, 7 times more value and actually building structure, infrastructure, business, even business for ourselves. So, but that can only take place when we are allowed to see that model and that land, that place that you were talking about, Tanzania. That President Julius Nyerere and Mwalimu, the teacher. That is where the Ujamaa concept, that is where that whole process comes, where the community is caring, sharing, and sharing resources. So that idea that we have with Kwanzaa of cooperative economics, that philosophy is the lifestyle that was put together and implemented with that president. So the whole thinking is different. The whole cultural approach to security and social security is different. So
you know what, our people here, the cost for a designer belt, you can take that same money and provide health insurance for about 10 children for an entire year in Tanzania, or you can pay for water for an entire primary school for an entire year for the same amount that a person would spend on a designer belt here in America.
And I remember in many of the schools here, I don't know if it has changed yet, but it was actually, we were told not to drink the water out of the water fountains right here in the city of Buffalo. So this whole idea about being able to have basic things like water healthcare, we have the ability to leverage that power, and that was what we've been talking about on this radio show for the last few weeks. How much leverage, how much power do we have as individuals, but as a collective, it's exponential.
Absolutely.
We just have to practice that together.
Absolutely.
So how can people get in contact with you? How can people? I had a chance to watch educational videos that you have put out. You have so many talents. You got your hands in a lot of educational things. But how can people reach you and get a chance to see some of the things that you're doing and what you're about?
I would say the central location is if they just go to Google and put in either Saladin Allah or the Atlantis School for Gifted Youngsters, they'll be able to find me on social media as well as on my website. And one of the things that's also important is that when people research me, there's always going to be empirical data or something that supports what it is that I do. And that's because a lot of times nowadays you have people who want to be influencers or people who just sit and talk, but there's no real evidence to support what they're actually doing in their community. And that's very, very important to me, because people, they may be inspired and encouraged to want to be a part of the things that you're doing. So you need to have evidence to support, to show people like, this is literally what I do. This is literally how I live.
And it's also evident now, as you said, like online, but as far as can you just speak real quickly about the United Nations project and how you were involved and what people can see online as far as that, the importance of that?
Yes, so I've been connected to the United Nations when I had the opportunity to be a part of a docuseries called Enslaved that's award-winning, and it was directed and produced and starring Samuel L. Jackson. So being a part of that, the documentary was screened at the United Nations. I had an opportunity to go to the United Nations and to be a part of that screening and a panel discussion. And since then, I've been connected in terms of the second session for people of African descent. So many people don't know that we're actually within a decade of people of African descent, which was declared at the United Nations. And as a part of that declaration, people of African descent around the globe have been coming together for a common cause and putting their minds together to think about ways that we can help support and leverage our resources in various different places around the world, whether that's dealing with our people in Haiti, whether that's dealing with our indigenous people or people who are in Israel, or dealing with our people who are in other different countries, including America and our reparations movement. So we've had these gatherings at the United Nations, and it's just wonderful to be a part of a project like that, because I'm also able to get perspective from our people around the world who are dealing with the exact same things that we deal with here in America. And because many of us have a very siloed perspective of ourselves, or we look at ourselves as different and isolated, we don't realize that there are people who are dealing with the same type of colonialism and white supremacy and racism and all of those various different elements in various different places around this world. And coming together under the auspices of the United Nations has given me that opportunity to not only be amongst our people from around the world, but also to be actively a part of a working group that shares recommendations with the General Council or the General Assembly at the United Nations in terms of the work that they're actually doing.
It's very interesting too, because now the African Union is also getting more involved and working with the diaspora, and these are the reasons why we have this show, Project Access to Africa, because with all of the realities and many times distractions that are going on here, it's going to be up to us to stay focused on how far we want to move. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? And our community has now opened up again, where our global community is very accessible to us, but it really depends upon where we want to go. How much leverage and how much power, how much do we really want it? Are we asleep, or are we going to wake up and live this life?
And the beautiful thing about the internet is that it created an avenue or an opportunity for us to be able to connect with our people globally. And through that connection, if we are utilizing our resources in the right way, there are many things that we're able to accomplish if we utilize that type of medium, as opposed to going on there watching fight videos or celebrity gossip. You could actually be communicating with somebody on the other side of the world, and
handling your business.
Exactly. And that's one of the ways that I was able to go to the continent of Africa. I mean, I talk to our people in Tanzania every other day since I've been there.
I remember a time where we could only dial a regular phone or you had to buy a phone card. Technology is making it very easy. We can spend all day as long as we got data or Wi-Fi. We could be on WhatsApp talking to people all over the world simultaneously.
Exactly.
I thank you for coming out. You're welcome to stay with the show. We're going to be going now, playing some music and doing a little bit of communication about Fela, the importance of Fela, getting into a little bit about his influences. Many people realize or remember the play Fela on Broadway came to Buffalo. We had a reception for that crew, had a chance to work with the staff, and we're going to give you some music from Fela in the few minutes that we have here on the African Dance Party, Project Access Africa.
Everybody run, run, run. Everybody scatter, scatter. Some people lost some bread. Someone nearly died. Someone just died. Police they come, army they come. Confusion everywhere. 7 minutes later, all done cool down, brother. Police don't go away, army don't disappear. Them leave sorrow, tears and blood.
Them regular trademark.
Them leave sorrow, tears and blood.
Them regular trademark.
Them regular trademark.
Them regular trademark.
That is why everybody run, run, run. Everybody scatter, scatter. Someone nearly died. Some people lost some bread. Someone just died. Police they come, army they come. Confusion everywhere. 7 minutes later, all done cool down, brother. Police don't go away, army don't disappear. Them live sorrow, tears and blood.
Them regular trademark.
Them live sorrow, tears and blood.
Them regular trademark.
Them regular trademark.
Them regular trademark.
La 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 la. My people say they fear too much. We fear for the thing we no see. We fear for the air around us. We fear to fight for freedom. We fear to fight for liberty. We fear to fight for justice. We fear to fight for happiness. We always get reason to fear. We no one die. We no one wound. We no one quench. We no one go again. get one child. My mom different house, my pa different house. I want build a house, I don't build a house. I know I won't quench, I won't enjoy, I know I won't go. So policeman go slap your face, you know go talk. Army man go whip your yash, you go they look like donkey. Rhodesia, they do them own, our leaders they have for nothing. South Africa, they do them own. Them live sorrow, tears and blood.
Them regular trademark.
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 Regular trademark.
Them regular trademark.
That is why everybody run. Everybody scatter. Some people lost some bed. Someone nearly died. Police they come, army they come. Confusion everywhere. Now so time when they go. Time no wait for nobody. Like that. But police go they come, army go they come with confusion in style like this. Everybody run. Everybody scatter. Some people lost some bread. Someone nearly died. Someone just died. Police they come, army they come. Confusion everywhere. 7 minutes later, all don't cool down, brother. Police don't go away. Army don't disappear. Them live sorrow, tears and blood.
Them regular trademark.
Them regular trademark.
Them regular trademark.
Them live sorrow, tears and blood.
Them regular trademark.
That is why everybody run. Everybody scatter. Some people lost some bread.
This is Lauren DeVoe, Queen Alake, from the musical Fela on Broadway, and you're listening to Ras Jomo and Ras Muata, Project Access to Africa.
So, we decided to stay for the second set. 1, 2, 3, 4. In Nigeria, we have a saying, water no get enemy. As a boy, it is one of those things my mother used to tell me that meant nothing and everything.
All right, this is Ras Jomo, and I want to thank you all for spending time with us. We also want to thank, tonight we had special guests. He's still in the studio. You can say good evening to the people as well. Brother Saladin Allah, anything you want to shout out to the community as we get ready to close out tonight's segment?
I just want to say peace and thank you for tuning in and to really think about some of the things that we were talking about in terms of international travel. I think if you're going to be celebrating Christmas this year or you're going to be celebrating Kwanzaa, think about getting your children passports for a gift, something that they can have, which means much more to them than toys or other different trinkets that we may traditionally be invested in. Get them a passport.
Real, true access to Africa. Passports. That is going to be the motto. We're going to reinstitute that, and I'll put that in for all of the Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Monday through Thursdays. We want to make sure that we're getting our young people passports, give them access to the world. We are wishing, hoping, and praying for peace. And, we're going to talk about Fela on next Sunday, Lord willing. We'll give you some more information. We want to communicate also how important the black struggle in America was, and how important it was also to influence other people who have become very prominent on the continent of Africa. Remembering the leverage that black America has, especially as everyone in the world is watching us.